my wife's
We hope you will enjoy the performance from Berg. It should be a lot of fun. And just so pleased that so many people came out tonight. I'd like to welcome you again. And I'd like to introduce the chairman of the board of Ames Memorial Hall, Fred Ames, in case you haven't met him before.
So, first of all, thank you all for coming. I haven't seen this many people here in a long time. So thank you. That's Carolyn Cole, as you know, and she put this whole thing together. Also, Melanie Kierlo. Is she here? Where is she? Where's Melanie? She's hiding? Anyway, this was Melanie's idea. She works at Borderland, and she really got this whole idea put together. So thank you, Melanie. Rich Berg, I'd like to thank, or should I say Edgar. Debbie Fain, who has the refreshments. Gail Devens, trustee, did a lot of work, as did Paula Peterson. I know some of you know her from the Children's Museum. And Joan Lundgren, another good friend of the hall. And Jonathan Blake is on the ECAT camera. So, again, a lot of people put some time together to put this together. And we're glad you're all here. And, oh yes, the friends. We'd like you to take a look at this. You'll see it on the refreshment table in the next room. This is people who support the hall, the people who are here for free tonight. We give you e-letters, newsletters. We have a very nice cookout, free dinners, and it's an organization that really makes a big difference. A lot of contributions, and we can do things like those curtains, finishing the floor, things that are so above and beyond the operational costs.
From childhood's hour, I have not been, as others were, I have not seen. As others saw, I could not bring my passions from a common spring. From the same source, I have not taken. My sorrow, I could not awaken. My heart to joy at the same tone. And all I loved alone. Then, in my childhood, in the dawn of a most stormy life was drawn, from every depth of good and ill, the mystery which finds me still, from the torrent or the fountain, from the red cliff of the mountain, from the sun around me rolled in its autumn tint of gold, from the lightning in the sky as it passed me flying by, from the thunder and the storm, and the cloud that took the form, when the rest of heaven was blue, of a demon in my view. Welcome to Poe Night 2018 at the Ames Memorial Hall. We are very glad that you are all here. Are you guys ready for a good show? First order of business is, can everybody hear me? I'm not used to being told to speak up because I have a loud, booming voice. Is everybody comfortable? My request is that you shut off and put your phones and other electronics on silent to be respectful to the people around you. And I can get easily confused, and we don't want that. So, if you give me a second, I'll get going. The program is about an hour. I'll give you a little background. I can break it about halfway through, 7-minute break, and we'll have a blast. Oh, we don't need gloves. So how is everybody? I'll be quiet. I do have to tell you that these newfangled devices are wonderful. They really make the day go. I was born a long, long time ago. Well before this building was even a thought. And if I repeat myself, it's because I'm going to look at my notes. So, yeah. Some background. You all know my name is Edgar. Family and close friends called me Ed. Now I'm just known as Po-Man. I was born in Boston many years ago, way before this building was a thought. Some of my contemporaries are Abe Lincoln, Charles Dickens, Emily Dickinson, Henry David Thoreau, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, Herman Melville, Walt Whitman, and Samuel Clemens. You guys know who Samuel Clemens is? Mark Twain, of course. It's easy for me, I have it in front of me. I lived in New York, Baltimore, Richmond, Philly, and London. I was quite the ladies' man back in the day. And with the exception of my most famous picture, taken by one of my detractors when I fell ill in October of 1849. That was a bad year for me. People are so jealous. Not to worry. I'm an award-winning poet, author, editor, literary critic, and storyteller with a flair for the natural world, the dramatic, and of course, the ghoulish. I'm credited with creating the first modern detective story, and as you'll see later in the program, I invented rap. I had no idea I was doing it. It just happens. That's what it is when you're an artist. Even so, I had a difficult life. I've been labeled paranoid, neurotic, oversexed, and a wee bit manic, and crazy. But then again, who isn't? These disparaging detractors and naysayers are long forgotten. They would have been crushed today by YouTube and Facebook. Let's just say, I'm so famed that many modern artists have referred to me or my work. None more heartwarming than the Beatles. They reference me in I Am the Walrus, and I'm on the cover of Sgt. Pepper. That rocks. Really, I even forgot, and I looked and went, hey, there I am. I look pretty good, by the way. So, enough about me. Would you like to do some about poetry program? Sure. Pause for a second, I need to get a drink. These are quite nifty, they didn't have these in the day. The Sleeper. At midnight, in the month of June, I stand beneath the mystic moon. An opioid vapor, dewy dim, exhales from out her golden rim, and softly, dripping drop by drop, upon the quiet mountain top, steals drowsily and musically into the universal valley. The rosemary nods upon the grave, the lily lolls upon the wave, wrapping the fog about its breasts, ruin moulders into rest. Looking like Lethe see the lake, a conscious slumber seems to take, and would not for the world awake, all beauty sleeps, and lo, where lies Irene with her destinies. O lady bright, can it be right, this window open to the night? The wanton air from the treetop, laughingly to the lattice drop. The bodiless air, a wizard's route, flit through thy chamber, in and out, and wave thy curtain canopy, so fitfully, so fruitfully, above the closed and fringed lid, beneath which thy slumbering soul is hid. That over the floor and down the wall, like ghosts the shadows rise and fall. O lady dear, hast thou no fear? Why and what art thou dreaming here? Sure thou art come from far off seas, a wonder to these golden trees. Strange is thy tower, strange thy dress, strange above thy length of trees, and this solemn solemnness. The lady sleeps, oh may her sleep, which is endearing, so be deep. Heaven have her in its sacred keep. This chamber, changed for one more holy, this bed for one more melancholy. I pray to God that she may lie forever with unopened eye, while the pale sheeted ghosts go by. My love, she sleeps, oh may her sleep, as it is lasting, so be deep. Soft may the worms about her creep, far into the forest, dim and old. For her, may some tall vault unfold, some vault that oft has flung its black and winged panels, fluttering back triumphant over the crested palls of her grand family funerals. Some sepulchre, remote, alone, against whose porthole she has thrown, in childhood, many an idle stone. Some tomb far off, whose sounding door she shall foresee and echo more. Thrilling to think, poor child of sin, it was the dead that groaned within. She's a very bad person. We weren't going to have her babysit, I don't think. Spirits of the dead. It's a little ghoulish, isn't it? It's that time of year. You guys don't have all the issues I have, do you? You do, I can tell you. She's laughing before I even finished saying it. I know. Spirits of the dead. Thy soul shall find itself alone mid dark thoughts of the great tombstone. Not one of all thy crowd to pry into thine hour of secrecy. Be silent in that solitude, which is not loneliness. For then the spirits of the dead, who stood in life before thee, are again in death around thee. Their will shall overshadow thee. Be still. The night, though clear, shall frown. The stars shall not look down from their high thrones in the heaven. With light, like hope to mortals given, but their red orbs without beam, through thy weariness shall seem as a burning and a fever, which would cling to thee forever. Now our thoughts thou shalt not banish. Thou our thoughts shall not vanish. Never to vanish from thy spirit shall thy pass no more. Like dewdrops, the grass. The breeze, the breath of God is silent. The mist upon the hill, shadowy yet unbroken. A symbol and a token, how it hangs upon the trees. A mystery of mysteries. Annabelle Lee. You guys all have drinks? I heard Fred has a really nice bar. Annabelle Lee. It was many and many a year ago, in a kingdom by the sea, that a maiden there lived whom you may know by the name of Annabelle Lee. This maiden, she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. I was a child and she was a child in this kingdom by the sea. And we loved with a love that was more than love, I and my Annabelle Lee. A love that the winged seraphs of heaven coveted her and me. So that a wind blew from a cloud by night, chilling and killing my Annabelle Lee. So that her high-born kinsman came and bore her away from me to shut her up in sepulchre in this kingdom by the sea. And we loved with a love that was more than love. The angels, not half so happy in heaven, went on envying her and me. Yes, this is the reason all men know in this kingdom by the sea, that a wind came from a cloud by night, chilling and killing my Annabelle Lee. But we loved with a love that was more than love, more than many far wiser than we, more than many much older than we. And neither the angels in heaven above, nor the demons down under the sea, could ever dissever my soul from the soul of the beautiful Annabelle Lee. For the moon never beams without bringing me dreams of the beautiful Annabelle Lee, and the stars never rise, but I feel the bright eyes of the beautiful Annabelle Lee. And so, all the night tide, I lie down by her side, by my darling, my wife and my bride, in her sepulchre there by the sea, by the sounding sea. So who knows what I'm drinking? I'm not telling you. The skeleton hand. Lo, one is on the mountainside, while the clouds are passing by, with their black wings flapping heavily, like eagles in the sky. Or lying up in the forest trees, and waiting there for the mountain breeze, and up to the mountaintop, nor yet to look for the joyous sun. Now he passes through the clouds. Does the hastily traveler stop? But he left down in the broken path, with a step light and free, as even as his days of mirth in the dance of revelry. Why endeth he his hasty speed? Why steppeth on his way? In truth, it is a fearing thought for human tongue to say. He fears that toward him pointeth very fleshless human hand, where the mountain rains have swept away its covering of the sand. That hand his very soul doth stir, for it proveth him a murderer. Long ago on the mountainside, the fearful deed was done. The murderer thought him safe, that no one could see, save thy broad bright sun, as he rolled in the heavens. As he rolled in the heavens, the dead above, and flooded the earth. He raises with his love. Now lifted he his clouded eye to the mountain crest behind, and over there came the broad black clouds, upheaving with the wind. And on them there darkened sprayed a crown upon the mountain head. And then shone out the flaming sun from the waters of the sea. And God's own bow came into the clouds and looked up gloriously, but its colors were of wrath, and that through their light o'er to the murderous path. And now God's chariots, the sun, came rolling down with might. Their wheels, like many horsemen, were in battle or in flight. And yet, no power to move hath he. His soul is in agony. Over the murdered dead they rolled, their mighty host. Old ocean's wave, come not so thick by northern tempest, tossed forth. From their mighty bosom came a flash of heaven's wrath. And away the heavy clouds, and sun rolled forth the murdered path. And the sun shone out where the murderer lay, before the dead, in arrow way. With his hand all seared, and his breast torn bare, torn bare of God's vengeance. He got himself in a lot of trouble. This one's a bit cheerier. You guys want something cheerier? It is quite odd, though. The bells. This needs to be. So, what am I drinking?
Apple cider.
Too hot. The bells. Oh, the bells, 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 what a tale their terror tells of despair. How they cling and clash and roar, what a horror they outpour in the bosom of the palpitating air. Yet the air it fully knows, by the twanging and the clanging, how the danger ebbs and flows. Yet the air distinctly tells, in the jangling and the wrangling, how the danger sinks and swells. By the sinking or the swelling, in the anger of the bells, of the bells, of the bells. Bells, 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 bells. In the clamor and the clangor of the bells. In the tolling of the bells, iron bells, what a world of solemn thought their monody compels. In the silence of the night, how we shiver with affright, in the melancholy meaning of their tone. For every sound that floats from the rust within their throats is a groan. And the people are the people, they that dwell upon the steeple all alone, and who tolling, 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 in that muffled monotone, feel a glory in so rolling in that human heart of stone. They are neither men nor women, they are neither brute nor human, they are ghouls. And the king it is who tolls, and he rolls, 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 a paean from the bells, and his merry bosom swells with the paean of the bells. And he dances and he yells, keeping time, 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 in a sort of runic rhyme, to the paean of the bells of the bells. Keeping time, 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 in a sort of runic rhyme, to the throbbing of the bells, 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 to the sobbing of the bells, keeping time, 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 as he knells, 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 in a happy runic rhyme, to the rolling of the bells, 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 to the tolling of the bells, 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 to the moaning and the groaning of the bells. I think I was quite tipsy when I wrote that. But when I was done, I was like, hey, that's not bad. I think it's worth. How many people think, yeah, I did a little bit? Come on. Raise your hand. She's the only one that has guts. She raises her hand. I don't smoke anything. Allergies and asthma, I'm just happy to be breathing. It would be fun. So where are we here? The lake. In spring of youth, it was my lot to haunt of the wide world a spot, the which I could not love, the less so. Lovely was the loneliness of a wild lake, with black rock bound and the tall pines that towered around. But when the night had thrown her pall upon the spot, as upon all, in thy mystic wind, went by murmuring in melody. Then I would awake to the terrors of the lone lake. Yet that terror was not fright, but a tremulous delight, a feeling not bejeweled mind could teach, or bribe me to define, nor love. Although the love were thine, death was in that poisonous wave, and in its gulf a fitting grave for him who thence could solace bring to his lone imaginary, whose solitary soul could make around the lake. We're going to do one more, and then we'll take a short break. The Forest Reverie. 'Tis said that when the hands of man tamed this primeval wood, and hoary trees with thrones of woe, like warriors by an unknown foe, were in their strength subdued, the virgin earth gave instant birth to streams that ne'er did flow, that in the sun did rivulets run, and all around where flowers did blow. The wild rose, pale perfumed the gale, and the queenly lily adorned the dale, whom the sun and the dew and the wind did woo. With the golden grape luxuriant grew. So when in tears the love of years is wasted like the snow, and the fine fribbles of its life, by the rude warring of instant strife, is taken at a blow. Within the heart do streams upstart, of which it doth now know, and strange sweet dreams like silent streams, whose rivers overflow. Whose rivers overflow from the earlier glide of river's tide, its ashes high. From deep in the heart whose hope has died, its ashes hence will spring and grow flowers, the sweet almond flowers of song. We're going to take a little break. I'm going to drink more. Drink, eat. I have an unplanned announcement. I'd like to thank my new, very young friend. She might have had to leave because she has school. But Veronica drew me a picture. Very nice. I will add this to my memorabilia. Still no ideas what I'm drinking, right? And I know I've been around hundreds of years, but we have allergies and asthma. You come prepared. If they had this in my day, I would have rocked them all. Take some guesses as to what I'm drinking. So, let's go. Say it again. One at a time.
I know I can't.
That's not, but that's pretty honest. So this one is really good. You're going to like this. I would like if everyone could take out a dollar bill or a 5 or 10 and don't get nervous. You're not going to give them to me. But if you want to donate them, donate it to the Ames Memorial Hall. But take out a dollar bill, and if you want to be generous and let someone else have one, just home. They'll give it back to you. So I want to at least make sure that there's one person at every table with a visible bill. If you want a 5 or 10. Someone asked me one year if I was beginning to know. No. So my show of hands, does anyone know which tables have the dollar bills? We all set as we go around? We all set back there? With the current economic kind of crisis, and the economic crisis that we've had, we know we're going to get more. I mean, there are only tariffs and stuff like that. But this is one of the best advice. This is the best advice I could give you. Epigram for Wall Street. I'll tell you a plan for gaining wealth, better than banking, trade, or leases. Take that banknote in your hand, hold it up. Take that banknote and fold it across. Fold it across. And then you will find your money increases. This wonderful plan, without danger or loss, keeps your cash in your hands, where nothing can trouble it. And if every time that you fold it across, 'tis as plain as the light of day, that you have doubled it, if I only took my own advice. Epigram for Wall Street. And like I said, you guys can keep the money. Right now. Back to my sad and turbulent life. Not everything I wrote was, on the down. It was. Are we ready? Over there? You ready back there?
Oh, yeah.
Back right. The village street. In these rapid, restless shadows, once I walked at eventide, when a gentle, silent maiden walked in beauty at my side. She alone there walked beside me, all in beauty like a bride. Paltry the moon was shining in the dewy meadow's night. Silvery silent rivers in the mountains far and high, on the ocean's starlit waters, where the winds awry die. Slowly, silently, we wandered from the open cottage door, underneath the elms, long branches, to the pavement bending o'er, underneath the mossy willow and the dying sycamore, with the myriad stars in beauty, all bedight the heavens were seen. Radiant hopes were bright around me, like the light of stars serene, like the mellow midnight splendor of the night's irradiant queen. Audibly the elm leaves whispered peaceful, pleasant melodies, like the distant murmuring, like the distant murmured music of unquiet, lovely seas. Will the winds were hushed in slumber, and the fragrant flowers and trees, wonders in unwanted beauty, still adoring all that seem. While I told my love in fables, underneath the willow by the stream, would the heart have kept unspoken love that was its rarest dream? Instantly, away we wandered, in the shadowy twilight tide, she, the silent, scornful maiden, walking calmly at my side, with a step serene and stately, all in beauty, all in pride. Vacantly I walked beside her. On the earth mine eyes were cast. Swift and keen there came unto me better memories of past. On me like the rain in autumn, on the dead leaves cold and fast. Underneath the elms we parted, by the lowly cottage door. One brief word alone we uttered, never on our lips before. And away I walked forlornly, broken-hearted evermore, slowly, silently, heading homeward, on that night alone. Sudden anguish had been over my spirit, that mine eyes that my youth had never known. What unrest like which cometh when one's first dream has flown. And to me the elm leaves whisper mad discordant melodies, and knell melodies like shadows haunt the moaning willow trees. And sycamores with laughter mock me in the nightly breeze. Sad and pale the autumn moonlight, through the sighing foliage streams, and each morning midnight shadow of my sorrow seems. I should have kept my mouth shut, man. I was a girl. But we sometimes speak in honesty, and a lot of relationships aren't good with honesty. No one's back there, they're all fine. The Valley of Unrest. Once it smiled, a silent dell where the people did not dwell. They had gone into the wars, trusting to the mild-eyed stars, nightly from their azure towers, to keep watch above the flowers, in the midst of which all day the red sunlight lazily lay. And each visitor shall confess the sad valley's restfulness. Nothing there is motionless. Nothing save the air that brood over the magic solitude, and by no wind are stirred those trees that palpitate like the chill seas around the misty Hebrides. And by no wind these clouds are driven that rustle through the unquiet heaven, uneasily from morn till evening, over violets there that lie in myriad types of the human eye, over lilies there that way and weep above a nameless grave. They wave out from the fragrant tops, eternal dewdrops come down in drops. They weep from far off their delicate stems, perennial tears descend in gems. It's so sad. They had it good in that city, but then things changed. Here they loom in the dream. I had a little flask, but I don't remember what I did with it. must curb my drinking, people have said. The skies, they were ashen and sober. The leaves, they were crisp and sere. The leaves, they were withering and sere. It was in the lonesome October of my most memorial year. It was hard by the dim lake of Arbor, in this misty mid-region of Weir. It was down by the dank town of Arbor, in the ghoul-haunted woodland of Weir. Here once through an alley titanic, of cypress I roamed with my soul, of cypress with Psyche my soul. These were the days when my heart was volcanic, as the Syriac rivers that roll, as the lavas that restlessly roll, the sulphur currents down Yannick, in the ultimate climbs of the pole, that groan as they roll down Mount Yannick, in the realms of the boreal pole. Our talk had been serious and sober, but our thoughts, they were palaced and sere. Our memories were treacherous and sere, and we knew not the night was October, and we knew not the month of the year. A night of all nights of the year. We noted not the dim lake of Arbor, though once we had journeyed down here. Remembered not the dim town of Arbor, nor the ghoul-haunted woodland of Weir. And now, as the night was senescent, and the star dials pointed to morn, as the star dials hinted of morn, at the end of our path a liquescent and nebulous luster was born, of which a miraculous crescent arose with a duplicate horn, a stridus bedmonde decrescent, distinct with its duplicate horn. And I said, she is warmer than Dion. She rolls there with an ether of sighs. She revels in a region of sighs. She has seen that the tears are not dry on these cheeks where the worm never dies. It has come past the stars of the lion to point us to the path of the skies, to the Lethean place of the skies. Come up in despite of the lion, to shine on us with her bright eyes. Came up through the lair of lion, with love in her luminous eyes. But Psyche uplifted her finger, said sadly, these stars I mistrust. Your father I strongly mistrust. Oh hasten, oh let us not linger. Oh fly, let us fly, for we must. In tears she spoke, letting sink her wings until they trailed in the dust. In agony saw the letting sink her, plume till they trailed in the dust. Till they sorrowfully trailed in the dust. I replied, this is nothing but dreaming. Let us on by the tremulous light. Let us bathe in the crystalline light. Its symbolic splendor is beaming, with hope and beauty with night. See, it flickers up to the sky through the night. Ah, we soulfully must trust to its glimmer, and be sure it would lead us aright. We soulfully may trust to a gleaming that cannot but guide us aright. Since it flickers up to the heavens through the night, thus I pacified Psyche and kissed her, and tempted her out of her gloom, and conquered her scruples and gloom. And we passed to the end of the vista, but we were stopped by the door of a tomb, by the door of a legended tomb. And I said, what is it, sweet sister? What is written within the tomb? And on the doors of the legended tomb, she replied, Eulenu, Eulenu. 'Tis the vault of thy first Eulenu. Then my heart it grew ashen and sober, as the leaves they grew crisp and sere, as the leaves they were withering and sere. And I cried, it was surely October, in this very night of last year, that I journeyed down here. That I brought a dreaded burden down here, on this night of all nights of the year. Ah, what demons have tempted me here? Well, I know now this dim lake of Arbor, the misty mid-region of Weir. Well, I know this dim town of Arbor, and this ghoul-haunted woodland of Weir. A dream within a dream. With a dream. Still guessing? Well, I can give you some hints. It's not vodka. It's not rum or gin. Because I have a few balance issues. If that was, I'd be out. A dream within a dream. Take this kiss upon thy brow, and in parting from you now, thus much let me avow. You are not wrong. You are not wrong who lost my place. You are not wrong who seem that my life is but a dream. In a vision or in none, is it therefore the less gone? All that we see or seem is but a dream within a dream. I stand amid the roar of the surf-torrented shore, and I hold within my hand grains of the golden sand. How few, yet how they creep through my fingers to the deep, while I weep, while I weep. Oh God, can I not grasp them with a tighter clasp? Oh God, can I not save one from the pitiless wave? Is all that we see or seem but a dream within a dream? It's really good. Got two of them. It makes everything better. El Dorado. Gaily bedight, a gallant knight, in sunshine and in shadow. He traveled long singing a song in search of El Dorado. But he grew old of this night so bold, and o'er his heart a shadow fell as he found no spot of ground that looked like El Dorado. And as his strength failed him at length, he met a pilgrim shadow. Shadow, said he, where can it be, this land of El Dorado? Over the mountains of the moon, down the valley of the shadow, ride, boldly ride, the shade replied, if you seek El Dorado. The Haunted Palace. In the greenest of our valleys, by good angels tenanted, once a fair and stately palace, radiant palace, reared its head. In the monarch thought's dominion, it stood there. Never seraph spread opinion over fabric half so fair. Banners yellow glorious, golden on its roof, did float and flow. All this, was the olden time, long ago. And every gentle ear that dallied in the sweet day, along the ramparts plummeted and pallid. And the winged odor went away. Wanderers in that happy valley, through two luminous windows, saw spirits moving musically to the lute's well-tuned law. Round about the throne were sitting in a state his glory well, befitting the ruler of the realm was seen. And all with pearl and ruby, glowing was the fair palace door, through which came flowing a sparkling evermore. A troop of echoes, whose sweet duty was but to sing in voices of surpassing beauty, that wit and wisdom of their king. But evil things in robes of sorrow assailed the monarch's high estate. Ah, let us mourn for never. Morrow shall dawn upon him desolate. And round about his home, the glory that blushed and bloomed is but a dim, remembered story of that old time entombed. And the travelers now within that valley through the red-lidded windows see vast forms that move fantastically to discordant melodies, while, like a ghastly rapid river, through the pale door, a hidden throngs rush out forever. close with the raven. You've heard this one, right? This requires many tricks. People have always commented that in writing The Raven, I must have been high on a little opium. It wasn't a little bit. It was major painkillers. Back surgery, knee surgery, you name it, we had. And back then it wasn't like now. They didn't write a little script when you go to the pharmacy and read the line. They just gave you stuff, like right there, where they made it for you. The Raven. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary, over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore. While I nodded nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this, and nothing more. Ah, distinctly I remember, it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrote its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I had sought to borrow from my book surcease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore. For the rare and radiant maiden, whom the angels name Lenore, nameless here, forevermore. And the silken sad uncertain, rustling of each purple curtain, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before. So that now to still the beating of my heart I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. Some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. This is it, and nothing more." Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Sir," said I, "or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore. But the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here, I opened wide the door. Darkness there, and nothing more. Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token, and the only word there spoken was the whispered word, Lenore. Really this, and nothing more. Back into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning, soon again I heard a tapping, somewhat louder than before. "Surely," said I, "that is something at my window lattice. Let me see that what thereat is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind, and nothing more." Open here I flung the shutter, when with many a flirt and flutter, in there stepped the stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Not the least obeisance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he. But with mane of lord or lady perched above my chamber door, perched upon a bust of Pallas just above my chamber door, perched and sat, and nothing more. Then this ebony bird beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore. "Though thy crest be shorn and shaven, thou," I said, "I sure no craven. Ghastly, grim, and ancient raven, wandering from the nightly shore, tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore." Quoth the raven, "Nevermore." Much I marveled this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though its answered little meaning, little relevancy bore. For we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door. Bird of east upon the sculptured bust above his chamber door, with such a name as Nevermore. But the raven sitting lonely on the placid bust spoke only that one word as if he did outpour. Nothing further than he uttered, not a feather than he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, "Other friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before." Then the bird said, "Nevermore." Startled at the stillness broken by reply so aptly spoken, "Doubtless," said I, "what it utters is its only stock in store, caught from some unhappy master, whom unmerciful disaster, followed fast and followed faster, till his song one burden bore. till the dirges of his hope this melancholy burden bore, but nevermore. But the raven, still beguiling all my fancy into smiling, straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of bird and bustin' door. Then upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself to linking, fancy unto fancy thinking, what this ominous bird of yore, what this grim, ungainly, ghastly, gaunt, ominous bird of yore meant in croaking. Nevermore. This I sat engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing, to the fowl whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease reclining, on the cushion's velvet lining that the lamplight floated o'er, but whose velvet violet lining with the lamplight floated o'er, she shall press, nevermore. Then we thought the air grew denser, perfumed by an unseen censer, caught censer swung by seraphim's foot who fall, tinkled on the tufted floor. Wretch, I cried, thy God hath lent thee, by these angels he hath sent thee. Respite, respite, and the pent from thy memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh, quaff this kind of pent, and forget the lost Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, think of evil prophet still. If bird or devil, whether tempest sent or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore, desolate yet all undaunted, on this deserted land enchanted, on this home by horror haunted, tell me truly, I implore, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, think of evil prophet still. If bird or devil, by the heaven that bends above us, and by the God we both adore, tell the soul with sorrow laden, if within a distant Aden, it shall clasp a sainted maiden, whom the angels name Lenore. Clasp a rare and radiant maiden, whom the angels name Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Be that word our sign of parting. Bird or fiend, I shrieked upstarting, get thee back into thy tempest and thy night's Plutonian shore. Leave no black plume as a token of the lie thy soul has spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit the bust above my door. Take thy beat from out thy heart, and thy form from off thy door. Quoth the raven, nevermore. And the raven never flitting, still sitting, still is sitting, on the pallid busted palace just above my chamber door. And his eyes have all the gleaming, and his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming. And the lamplight o'er him streaming, throws his shadow on the floor. And my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted, nevermore. I had a lot to drink when I wrote that. That concludes our program. I thank you all very, very much. Doing both in an honor to be in this wonderful hall. And I don't know if Carolyn or Fred have any closing remarks. I kind of interrupted Fred on the entrance. I thank you very much. Drive safely. And remember, no matter what your political choices are, get out and vote. Thank you.